Biden administration begins enforcing nationwide light bulb bans. Drones target Moscow and hit high-rise building. China curbs exports of drone equipment. Ukraine and Croatia agree on use of Croatian ports for grain exports. Global freight recession, fueling 75% plunge in container rates. Chinese firms are seeking Korean partners to skirt US EV rules. Australia's Great Barrier Reef avoids Unesco in danger list. Drought alert for receding Lake Titicaca.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It's Wednesday, August 2nd, and here are your top stories. The Biden administration will begin enforcing a nationwide ban on various types of popular light bulbs Tuesday. Under the U.S. Department of Energy's regulations, manufacturers and retailers will be prohibited from selling incandescent and similar halogen light bulbs, which represent a sizable share of current light bulb supplies. Instead, manufacturers and retailers in the United States must sell light-emitting diode, or LED. Alternatives will risk substantial federal penalties.
You'll have to buy LED lights as incandescent bulbs become illegal.
According to the most recent government survey, U.S. households have increasingly switched to LED light bulbs. 47% of households use mostly or only LEDs, 15% use mostly incandescent or halogens, and 12% use mostly or all compact fluorescent (CFL), with another 26% reporting no predominant bulb type. According to the DOE announcement, the regulations are projected to save consumers an estimated $3 billion per year on utility bills and cut carbon emissions by 222 million metric tons over the next 3 decades.
The Russian military said its anti-aircraft units had thwarted a Ukrainian terrorist attack early on Tuesday and downed drones targeting Moscow. But one drone, sent out of control by its units, struck the same high-rise tower hit earlier this week. The Russian Defense Ministry said on the night of August 1st, 2 drones had been downed in suburbs west of the city center. Another lost control and crashed into a complex of non-residential buildings at a business center.
Video obtained by the media showed several square meters of the building's glass facade high above the ground destroyed by the impact. TASS news agency quoted emergency services as saying debris from the falling drone had been located and would be sent in for analysis. Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin said, one flew into the same tower at the Moskva city complex hit previously. The facade has been damaged on the 21st floor. Glazing was destroyed over 150 square meters.
On Monday, China announced export controls on some drones and drone-related equipment, saying it wanted to safeguard national security and interests. China's Commerce Ministry said the restrictions on equipment, including some drone engines, lasers, communication equipment, and anti-drone systems, will take effect on September 1st. The ministry said the controls also affect some consumer drones. In addition, no civilian drones can be exported for military purposes.
The U.S. Congress in 2019 banned the Pentagon from buying or using drones and components manufactured in China. U.S. lawmakers have said that more than 50% of drones sold in the U.S. are made by Chinese-based company DJI, and they are the most popular drone used by public safety agencies. On Monday, DJI said it always strictly complied with and enforced laws and regulations of the countries or regions in which it operates, including China's export control regulatory requirements.
After talks with his Croatian counterpart on Monday, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmitry Kuleba said Ukraine and Croatia have agreed on the possibility of using Croatian ports on the Danube and the Adriatic Sea for the export of Ukrainian grain. After meeting Great Lake Redmen in Kyiv, Kuleba said, now we will work to establish the most efficient routes to these ports and make the most of this opportunity. Every contribution to unblocking exports, every door open, is a real, effective contribution to the world's food security.
Russia quit the UN-brokered Black Sea grain deal this month, depriving Ukraine, a global producer, of a vital conduit to safely export its agricultural products during the war. Ukraine currently relies on land export routes via the European Union as well as an alternative route via the Danube River. Russia attacked infrastructure along the latter route earlier this month. Kuleba said the main subject of his talks with his Croatian counterpart were regarding weapons. Specific agreements will be implemented soon.
Business Insider reported the Joy World Container Index, which tracks container rates on 8 major shipping routes around the world, has slid over 75% from a year ago as a fall-off in consumer spending has suppressed demand for goods. The downturn in the freight market has even affected financial companies with exposure to the industry. Dallas-based Triumph Financial said there is a freight recession, and all of us who are exposed to the freight market face the same headwind.
The U.S. Federal Reserve also acknowledged the so-called freight recession. The central bank said, trucking firms reported a sharp decline in freight volume this period with excess capacity in the system. Respondents indicated that there was a freight recession, and it was more difficult to find loads. Weakness in demand was primarily in consumer and industrial segments. Cardboard box sales have reached lows not seen since the Great Recession.
Bloomberg reported Chinese firms are lining up to invest in South Korea's battery industry because they want to use it as a gateway to the U.S. market, undermining the Biden administration efforts to limit China's involvement in the electric car supply chain. Officials from the Samanjim Development and Investment Agency say that over the past 4 months, Chinese companies and their Korean partners have announced some $4 billion of investments in 5 new battery factories in Korea.
Bloomberg said that Chinese and Korean firms are looking to take advantage of Korea's free trade agreement with the U.S., considering batteries made in South Korea and then installed in U.S.-made electric cars will likely qualify for tax breaks under President Joe Biden's Inflation Reduction Act. James Lee, an analyst at KB Securities Company, said partnerships with Chinese firms can be risky for Korean companies because the U.S. could block the joint ventures from any IRA tax benefits at any time.
The Great Barrier Reef will not be recommended for inclusion on the endangered list this year by the United Nations World Heritage Body, even as it warned that the natural wonder is still under serious threat from climate change and agriculture. In a draft decision released on Monday, UNESCO said progress by the Australian government on tackling carbon emissions and improving water quality in the Great Barrier Reef meant further evaluation was needed before the site was added to the UN's list of World Heritage in danger.
However, the UN Heritage Body warned that the property remains under serious threat, and said urgent and sustained action to implement the priority recommendations of the mission is essential in order to improve the long-term resilience of the property. Australia's Environment Minister Tanya Plibersek said on Tuesday that she welcomed UNESCO's decision, saying it was the result of changed policies under the centre-left Labour government. Despite this, the Greens Party says more needs to be done to protect the reef.
After Lake Titicaca surface fell 2 centimeters below the drought warning stage, the Bolivian National Service of Naval Hydrography declared an alert this week for the iconic body of water, which is the highest navigable lake in the world. The hydrology unit of Bolivia's Navy warned that water levels could reach historically low levels in the coming months. By December, there is a high probability Lake Titicaca will be 64 centimeters below the drought alert level, breaking a low water record set in 1998 by 33 centimeters.
According to Lucia Walper, who heads up the Hydrological Forecasting Unit at Bolivia's National Meteorology and Hydrology Service, the drought is the result of a combination of factors, including natural phenomena like La Niña and El Niño, which arrived unusually early this year and have been particularly strong due in part to climate change. Authorities in the Peruvian city of Puno also issued a warning about the declining water levels. Lake Titicaca serves as the border between Bolivia and Peru.
Now let's delve into the news of global freight recession. Number 1. Route, 路线, 路途. Motorists are advised to find an alternative route. Number 2. Suppress, 抑制控制忍住. She was unable to suppress her anger. Number 3. Downturn, 商业经济的衰退下降, 衰退期. They predicted a severe economic downturn. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comment section. The correct answer will be announced tomorrow. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune in to Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I will see you next time.
It starts with one thing. In the end, it doesn't even matter.
Better world, better world.
Welcome to California. Miracles. a miracle has happened tonight. Pray I'll be missing you. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying, but I can't wait for the leaving, make a better place.